Hi, I'm Mark Kleffner, Professor of Earth Sciences and Interim Associate Dean at Ohio State Lima. I'm reading you a story today as part of the Storytime with Buckeye series. I selected one of the stories I used to read to my kids a long time ago, probably more than 20 years ago now, about dinosaurs. I happen to be a paleontologist and really love dinosaurs. The book I selected is Patrick's Dinosaurs. It was written by Carol Carrick and illustrated by Donald Carrick. It is appropriate for pre-K through grade 3, and probably anybody can enjoy listening to it. Clarion Books was kind enough to grant permission for it to be read. So let's get started. Patrick's Dinosaurs. Patrick and his brother Hank went to the zoo on Saturday. They stood outside a tall fence and watched the elephants. I'll bet that elephant is the biggest animal in the whole world, said Patrick. You think he's big, Hank said. A brontosaurus was heavier than 10 elephants. Gosh, said Patrick. If Hank said so, it must be true. Hank knew all about dinosaurs. He knew more about everything because he was older and went to school already. Patrick squeezed his eyes half shut. What would a dinosaur that weighed as much as 10 elephants look like? The brontosaurus he imagined turned and looked right at him. I have a model of a brontosaurus here, and it really was a big dinosaur. I have a model of a gray whale, and it's done at the same scale. So you can see the brontosaurus and the gray whale are about the same size. But neither is quite as big as 10 elephants. More like 5 or maybe 6 elephants. There were some sauropods, that's the name of this kind of dinosaur that Brontosaurus was, that were bigger than Brontosaurus though. In fact, there was one called Argentinosaurus that may have been as much as 70 tons. That's closer to 14 or 15 elephants. So yeah, there were some dinosaurs that were truly huge. Did a brontosaurus eat people? He asked nervously. Just plants, answered Hank. Patrick's dinosaur started eating leaves from one of the trees. They went to see the crocodiles next. Crocs were Patrick's favorite because he liked to scare himself. Those are shrimpy, said Hank. In the days of the dinosaurs, crocodiles grew 3 times that big. Wow, said Patrick. Just their jaws were twice as big as you are, added Hank. Patrick imagined an enormous crocodile. It was 3 times bigger than the other crocs. It was so big that it wanted the whole pool for itself. The other crocodiles were too slow getting out. So the enormous crocodile opened its jaws that were twice as big as Patrick and gobbled them all up. Patrick backed away. We didn't see the monkeys yet. This is a scale model of one of those crocodiles that lived during the days of the dinosaurs, and it was big. In fact, for a comparison, here's the gray whale again. And the crocodile is almost as long as the gray whale. Not quite as massive, but almost as long. So yeah, there were some really big crocodiles that lived during the age of the dinosaurs. After they'd seen the monkeys and the seals, Patrick and Hank went for a row on the zoo lake. Patrick looked down into the deep green water. What was that dark shape next to their boat? Did dinosaurs know how to swim? He asked. Some did, answered Hank. Diplodocus, the longest dinosaur, could stay underwater like a submarine because its nose was on top of its head. Patrick was afraid to move. Out of the corner of his eyes, he saw the big thing swimming along next to them. It might rise and dump them over. What's that? He cried. We're going to bump into it. No, Dopey, that's just a shadow from our boat, Hank explained. Patrick wasn't so sure. Let's go home now, he said. Rowing makes me tired. Here's a scale model of a diplodocus. At one time, it was considered the longest dinosaur, but since the book was written, they found dinosaurs much longer than it too. It was about 90 feet in length. They've now found some sauropods, the long-necked, long-tailed dinosaurs, that approach maybe 125 or 130 feet in length. Also, diplodocus, despite having a nostril on the top of its head, didn't swim. In fact, paleontologists don't think any dinosaurs swam. And there's also no evidence that they lived in lakes where they might have been swimming because there's no footprints on the lake bottoms. But there were some really big reptiles in water that were swimming during the time of the dinosaurs. They just weren't dinosaurs. Those big reptiles included this pliosaur. Look how fearsome it looks. And again, to compare it, here's a gray whale. They're basically almost the same size. The pliosaur is a little bit smaller, but not much. And there were also plesiosaurs, like this one, another big marine reptile. Definitely not as massive as the gray whale, but nearly as long as the gray whale. So there were some pretty fearsome marine reptiles swimming in water during the age of the dinosaurs. When they got on the bus, Patrick felt better, even though Hank was still showing off how much he knew about dinosaurs. A stegosaurus was bigger than one of those cars, Hank said, but its brain was only the size of a walnut. Patrick looked out the window. In his mind, the lane of cars was a line of walnut-brained stegosauruses. The plates on their backs swayed like sails as they plodded along. Hank reached up and rang the bell for the driver to stop. A triceratops was tougher than a stegosaurus, he said. It could even take on a tyrannosaurus. The bus stopped at their corner. On the other side of the street, Patrick thought he saw a triceratops waiting for the traffic light. When Patrick and his brother climbed down from the bus, the hot, dusty street became a prehistoric forest. Tropical birds screamed their warning. Too late. A dreadful Tyrannosaurus crashed into the clearing. Patrick held his breath as the Triceratops lowered its huge head. Its horns pointed ahead like three enormous spears. When the traffic light changed, the Triceratops charged. "Run!" Patrick yelled. He headed for their apartment building. "What's the hurry?" called Hank. Patrick didn't feel safe until the front door of the hall slammed shut. He wanted to look out his window, but first he had to ask Hank something. "How big was a Tyrannosaurus?" "Big," said Hank. "Up to the second floor, maybe?" asked Patrick. "At least," Hank agreed. "That's what I was afraid of," said Patrick. He peeked into his bedroom. Sure enough, the ugly head of the Tyrannosaurus almost filled his window. The dinosaur opened its mouth to show teeth like daggers. Patrick didn't think this dinosaur ate leaves. This is a scale model of Tyrannosaurus rex, and it was a very big dinosaur. Again, just for a comparison, here's the gray whale. So not quite as big as a gray whale, but still a pretty big dinosaur. If Tyrannosaurus rex did stand up, it probably could have looked in a second-story window, just like in the book. But it's thought that this kind of dinosaur didn't stand up much. It's thought that the meat-eating dinosaurs, like T-Rex, probably had their backbones more horizontal most of the time than vertical. And that means it probably would have not been quite able to look into a second-story window under ordinary circumstances, but a second floor, second-story window, if it did stand erect, yes, it could do that. "Are you sure there are no more dinosaurs around?" he asked Hank. "Positive. The dinosaurs have been gone for 60 million years. Well, it turns out that's not quite true either. It's pretty close. Dinosaurs, at least ordinary dinosaurs, the ones we think of as dinosaurs, have been extinct for about probably 66 million years. Birds, however, are considered by paleontologists to not only have descended from dinosaurs, but to be kind of modern day dinosaurs. So not all dinosaurs are extinct, but the ones you think of as dinosaurs, like Brontosaurus and Diplodocus, Stegosaurus, Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, all of those have been extinct for at least 66 million years. Patrick gave a sigh of relief, and the dinosaur disappeared. Patrick had a great imagination, and his brother Hank did know a lot about dinosaurs, but not quite as much as he thought he did. Well, I hope you enjoyed this reading, and it's been my pleasure to be part of the Storytime with the Buckeyes series. Thanks.